Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're really excited to be going over the dry ice monitoring of COVID vaccines with InTemp. My name is Colin Weingarten, and I am the product manager for the InTemp product line. And today we're hoping to answer as many questions as you might have about the COVID vaccine and how it's going to be shipped and stored. We constantly are looking at what's going on in the world and doing our research to make sure we stay up to date on everything that's happening, what's going to happen. So hopefully this clears up a few things for you, and hopefully we can provide you with some great solutions for your monitoring needs during this pandemic. So just a couple logistics first. If you can't hear me, please check your settings. There's the microphone settings. If you do have any questions, please type it into the question box. We will have somebody monitoring that question box and answering them as you type them. If we find any good questions that we think the entire audience should know, we'll stop at least once in the middle of the presentation to answer them, and then again at the end of the presentation. But do please post your questions in that question box there. This webinar is being recorded and it will be made available to all attendees after we complete it. So today, we're going to go over the COVID-19 vaccine logistics, some of the distribution and storage challenges, briefly go over CDC updates. Then we'll talk about InTemp's cold chain monitoring solutions, so what we have currently to assist with monitoring the COVID-19 vaccine as we get moving with it. And then finally, I'll give you a little bit of an overview on onset itself. The vaccines, no matter what you've been hearing, what you see in the news, they are coming, and hopefully they're coming soon. When they're coming is still a question, but we keep hearing, keep seeing things in the news. We see several pharmaceuticals in phase 3 right now of testing, so we're hoping that these get out soon so that we can start fighting this crisis. But there is going to be quite a few challenges with getting this vaccine distributed globally. So typically with other vaccines, these are being shipped at 2-day temperatures, easy to ship, easy to store. The COVID vaccine is going to be needed to be shipped and stored around -90 to -65 degrees Celsius. That in and of itself is going to be quite a challenge. So there is a major difference with this vaccine. In addition to that, majority of leading COVID vaccines can only be left out of those settings for just a few days. So when it gets to the final destination, obviously it needs to be thawed out, refrigerated, and after that, there's only a very limited amount of time you have before the efficacy is lost of that vaccine. So because of that, specialized shippers are going to be required to maintain these ultra low temperatures, and that's both in transit and in storage. And it's going to be really critical to monitor these shipments and containers to ensure that the vaccine remains efficable. Let's talk about some of the challenges. And it's very clear when you start looking at the numbers of what we do today with other vaccines and other diseases and those kinds of things, and what we're going to have to do with the COVID vaccine. Experts are estimating that somewhere between 12 billion and 15 billion COVID-19 vaccines are going to be needed globally. In 2021, experts are saying that they'll be able to produce only 9 billion of that. So then right there's already a challenge. We may be able to only be able to produce about 9 billion in the first year when we need about 12 to 15 billion. Then when you look at other vaccines, like for the flu, you see that in a given year, we're usually only capable of producing and distributing 6.4 billion flu vaccines. So we're able to distribute 6.4 billion flu vaccines, but we're looking to try to distribute 9 billion COVID-19 vaccines. So you can see how this is already becoming more and more of a challenge. And on top of that, it's estimated already that billions of people are not going to have access to ultra low temperature storage equipment. So there's many parts of the world that just don't have access to this equipment. So there won't even be really opportunities to store them indefinitely until they're ready to be used. It's really going to have to be from the manufacturer straight to the clinic, the hospital, and to the patient. So that creates a lot of complexity. So when you really think about it, at a high level, you have the supply chain industry, and then a subsector of that is cold chain. And now we're looking at vaccine distribution within cold chain, and then specifically monitoring COVID-19 vaccines that are ultra low temperatures. So you're really looking at a subset of a subset of a subset. And because of that, it's going to be extremely complicated to figure out how we're going to distribute them effectively and make sure that they're staying in the right conditions all the way throughout the process from beginning to end, so that by the time it gets to the patient, you know that it is safe and it's going to work. So to go over a little bit of the latest CDC COVID vaccine information, over 200 COVID-19 vaccines currently underdeveloped within the United States. 2 vaccines are in phase 3. Worldwide, we're looking at more around, I think it's, last I checked, it was about 4, possibly up to 10 different vaccines that are in phase 3. So 2 vaccines in the US, up to 10 worldwide. There's 1 in phase 3 that's currently on hold, and 3 in phase 1 and 2, and are actively recruiting patients for trials. Moderna, obviously here in the US, currently has a little over 25,000 participants enrolled as of September 16th. And then Pfizer has about 31,000, and they're planning to expand to 44,000 participants. So things are definitely underway. We're getting there. And obviously, once testing has been fully completed, the government is really looking for ways to fast track this and get this out to the public as soon as possible. And we're talking about the US government, of course. Whether that happens worldwide remains to kind of be seen, but the US government is definitely trying to fast track this. So we have a big logistical challenge that's coming up quickly, and we got to come up with quick solutions. Another thing to note here is on September 16th, the CDC did release a COVID-19 vaccination program interim playbook. So this is similar to the VFC guidelines set by the CDC, but specifically for COVID-19 vaccines. So beyond the VFC scope, right? So for everybody, and it's for COVID-19. In that playbook, there is a lot of guidance there. Everything is very preliminary right now, and that's kind of one thing to keep in mind going through all this. A lot of things are still unknown, and it's because there are such large logistical challenges that things are going to stay unknown for a little while. And that's why we as a company are constantly reading the news, reading reports, reading studies, and making sure we stay up to date and provide you with the best solutions that we can. And a COVID-19 addendum to the CDC's vaccine and storage is expected to be released soon, so keep an eye out for that. So a couple of key things from the CDC's interim playbook. As we said, we are expecting these to be shipped and stored in ultra low temperatures, and then once they're ready to be used, they'll be kept in cold temperatures, probably frozen to refrigerated. And after that, once they get to that condition, there's only a very limited time that they're available for use. So again, maybe 2 or 3 days, depending on the vaccine. Different vaccines have different requirements. A lot of these vaccines are going to have to be shipped directly from the manufacturer, so there isn't going to be a lot of opportunity to ship to regional distribution centers for storage. And again, that's because the availability of ultra low equipment to store these vaccines is very limited. Most of the world will, not most of the world, but a lot of the world, a large population, will not have access to these types of storage units, and the ones that do will have very limited capacity to store them. So certainly there will be regional places that will be able to store them. Not sure what that looks like quite yet. That's from last we checked is still being looked at and still being figured out. But again, a lot of these vaccines are going to have to go straight from the manufacturer right to the vaccination provider site. If redistributing the vaccine, the jurisdictions must adhere to all cold chain requirements and should limit transport of frozen or ultra cold vaccine products. And jurisdictions and vaccination providers are responsible for maintaining vaccine quality from the time a shipment arrives at your facility until it's administered. So whether it's coming from a distribution center or coming direct from the manufacturer, as soon as it gets to a clinic, a hospital, wherever these vaccines are being distributed to patients, you are responsible for it. You are responsible for making sure it is kept in proper conditions, and that if it is not, that you're handling it correctly. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here just to take a quick look to see if there are any open questions. It looks like we're all set. So I'm gonna continue, and then there will definitely be another opportunity for questions at the end. So now I want to go into what our solutions are. What do we currently have? What are we building? What are we doing to assist with the logistical challenges of distributing and storing these vaccines and making sure that consistent monitoring happens from beginning to the very end? Currently, we do have solutions. We have our CX603 dry ice logger. Those will be able to monitor temperatures from beginning to end. They can be used for both transportation and storage, and can go down below even -90, which is what the CDC was saying would be probably the lowest vaccines will need to be kept at. So it goes even below that. It's highly accurate, and as you can see here, it can be used in a variety of different transport conditions and in storage. We also do have the 703 cryogenic loggers, which goes down to -200. Not going to be, most likely not going to be necessary for COVID vaccines, but just letting out that is also available if for whatever reason we do need to go down even below -90°C. Some of the key features, these are designed to meet the increased demands for cold chain visibility and automation. So the loggers can be used with our apps, they can be used with our gateways, and all data can be sent up, stored, and centralized in our cloud system. So the CX5000 gateways are really great tools for automating a lot of your process. They can program your loggers, they can download your loggers, they can give you automatic alerts whenever temperature excursions occur, and they can send you reports automatically whenever a download is done. With the gateway and with the apps, we do have touchless solutions. So obviously that's going to be critical with shipping COVID-19 vaccines. We want to make sure we're not handling these loggers a lot and inadvertently spreading the disease around even more, right? So we can use the app or the gateway so that you don't even have to handle the logger itself. It just does it automatically or through a few presses on your phone. All of our data loggers are NIST certified, and our systems are 21 CFR Part 11 compliant. So it does meet the needs of the FDA, WHO, USP, and even some of the CDC guidelines. Now, we did build our loggers to meet CDC requirements for vaccine monitoring. Just a brief caveat there. They are not approved for VFC, vaccines for children, which require probe and glycol, but that's not what we would use these loggers for. This is for COVID-19 vaccines, which is very different and a different set of rules with the CDC. So these are also CDC compliant. And all of our loggers are manufactured by us here in the US. We are a trusted source for accurate and reliable data loggers. We do test these extensively to make sure they are accurate, that they are durable, and that you're going to get monitoring from end to end no matter what. This is kind of a holistic picture of our offerings. We have offerings for both logistics, so transportation, and for storage as well. So looking at this from the perspective of COVID-19, obviously we would start with the manufacturer, the farm manufacturer actually producing the vaccines, and then getting to the clinics, hospitals, and pharmacies to distribute them. For the transportation part, you can use our dry ice loggers, our cryo loggers for ultra low temperatures. And then of course we have our 503 loggers or 500 loggers for ambient temperatures. For clinic, hospitals, and pharmacies, dry ice can be used as well. They can be used for both transport and storage. And all of these solutions, including the probe and glycol 400 loggers, which you see there, they are all set up so that every single one of our loggers is able to connect with their gateway, is able to connect with their apps, and can all send information to InTemp Connect. Briefly discuss the app. The app is a great way to view temperatures in real time. This is Bluetooth, so you do have to be in range of the loggers in order to view the temperatures in real time. It gives you ability to program loggers, download loggers, and view reports. So it gives you a mobile way of achieving everything you need to do from your phone if you're not going to be able to set up our InTemp Connect cloud platform with gateways. And all the information that is done or is downloaded by the app can be sent up to InTemp Connect, the cloud platform, to centralize your data and view reports there. And it will set off automatic alerts if there are temperature excursions. So it does work seamlessly with our other solutions. And of course, it is 21 CFR Part 11 compliant. We're very excited to announce that we're actually going to be releasing a brand new app in early November. It's going to be called InTemp Verify, and it is a very simplified version of the InTemp app. And the main features of this is you're always going to stay signed in, so you don't have to keep signing in. You do not need an ITC account, so you don't need an InTemp Connect cloud account in order to use it. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to use our loggers almost as if they were USB loggers. As long as the loggers are programmed to be used with this app, anybody in the world can download the loggers just by simply tapping on download, and that information will be sent automatically up to the logger owner's account. So it gives you access to information anywhere in the world without having to set up complicated accounts and systems, and gives everybody access to data whenever they need it. So again, it's really giving people the ability to use our loggers as if they were almost USB loggers, which you just plug into a computer and pull the reports for. So we're really excited about this app. I think it helps to make things more efficient in terms of transportation, and it allows the accessibility of our data to be much more open and effective. The InTemp Connect Cloud Platform. This is a free cloud platform. It is an amazing tool to do your analysis with, to get your reports, to set up automated notifications where you can be alerted immediately if there is a temperature excursion. And when I say immediately, it's whenever a download is done. So either through the app or through the gateway, which have to be in range of those loggers. It is a Bluetooth logger. So if they are in range and a download's done and there's an alarm, you'll get those notifications saying there is an alarm immediately, so you know what you need to do or how you need to respond. A very secure system, also 21 CFR compliant. It allows for a lot of automation. So again, you have those alerts. You can set up your loggers to be programmed automatically, to be downloaded automatically, as long as you're using the gateway in tandem with the InTemp Connect cloud platform. It's very customizable. So we have standard reports, and then we give you a lot of options to customize those reports. So you can see all of your data in the way you need to see it. You can group it however you need to group it, and then also make sure that the correct data is getting to the correct person. And it's easy to use. If you set this up in the right way, which we're always here to help out with, we have great staff to help our customers out with figuring out how to set up the systems. And then once you do, you can automate a lot, almost all of the activities through the gateway and through InTemp Connect, so that there's very little training involved with people on the ground, people who are actually handling the loggers from site to site and while vaccines are in storage. So again, we have the InTemp dry ice loggers, the CX602 and the 603, the 602 being a single use and the 603 being multi-use. The 603 will last up to a year and is priced at $140, and then the 602 is listed at $105. It does have a probe range of -95C to +50C, so it covers the entire range the COVID-19 vaccines will need to be transported and stored at. Has NIST calibrated certificates, high and low temperature alerts. Again, works with our gateway, works with our apps. All the data can be centralized in the InTemp Connect cloud platform. It has customizable logger settings, so you can define how often you want it to record, how you want it to start up. So do you want to start immediately on a certain date, after a certain amount of time? So there's a lot of things you can do to customize how the logger behaves as well. And it's capable of recording up to 16,000 measurements, which is well over a month worth of data if you're doing 1-minute intervals, which is more than what you would need for a typical shipment, especially for COVID-19 shipments that most likely can be shipped from manufacturer directly to the distribution sites. That process definitely is not going to take over a month, so more than enough memory to meet all of your needs. We're also really happy to announce that we are developing a brand new logger to help meet the needs of COVID-19 vaccine monitoring. We are developing what would be known as the CX405 RTD logger. It is our standard 400 logger with an LCD display with a RTD probe, meaning it is highly accurate and is capable of reading temperatures from -95 to +50C. So it is similar to our 600 logger in the sense that it's able to go down to the temperatures you need to monitor for the COVID-19 vaccine, but it also gives you the added benefit of having an LCD display so you can monitor temperatures easily throughout the process and see when you have alarms and min and max, average, and everything you would need to really do analysis on the spot. We are expecting to have this ready by the very beginning of next year. So late December, early January is the time frame. It will have replaceable AAA batteries, which makes it even more user-friendly, NIST calibrated, high and low temp alarms, including audible alarms, customizable logger settings, and this one will have 53,000 measurements. Again, more than enough to meet your logging needs throughout the entire process, beginning to end, transportation to storage. Briefly go over our gateway. Again, a device that can be used with our loggers. You can set it up to create or to allow for a lot of automation, do logger programming, downloading. It allows alerts to be sent out whenever there are temperature excursions and to be able to provide you with reports automatically when a download is done. It ensures 100% data recovery, secure wireless or Ethernet transmissions, and then enables real-time alerts. And this is priced at $250. And just to give you a sense of what our other offerings are for refrigeration and freezer monitoring needs, we do have other 400 loggers, one that are used specifically for VFC customers, or if you just need a probe and glycol logger, one with blunt tip probes if you're needing to monitor something that is in plastic casings. We have our 500 loggers for regular ambient and refrigerated temperature or transportation needs. And then a relatively new product we just released this summer is the CX450, which is capable of measuring both temperature and relative humidity. So before we end the webinar, I just want to go through some key takeaways here. As of right now, there's somewhere up to 10 vaccines in phase 3 status worldwide right now. Still not sure when exactly they will start getting distributed or when they'll get approved. But again, we're making sure to keep a close eye on that, constantly looking at the research and reports and everything out there so we can help you. The number of COVID-19 vaccines will far exceed distribution of the flu vaccine, which is part of the logistical challenges we were talking about, including a logistical challenge of needing to ship between -90 and -65°C. And then there's also the challenge of ultra-low storage. There isn't a lot of ultra-low storage out there in the world. A lot of people will not have access to it. So again, it's going to have to be manufacturer direct to the distribution sites. We currently have the InTemp CX600s, 700s available for ultra low temp monitoring, and we will have the CX405 late this year, early next year available that has the LCD screen and able to monitor ultra low temperatures as well. The InTemp solution overall, so the app, the gateway, and InTemp Connect is there to streamline and automate your monitoring process, allows you to do in-depth and critical analysis and get the reporting you need when you need it. And then InTemp and InTemp Verify mobile applications make it easy for you to access this data anywhere and for whoever has it. Again, being close to the loggers with our Bluetooth solutions, you can monitor in real time and easily access data when you need it. Just a little bit about Onset. We are considered a world leader in data loggers. We were founded in 1981 and currently have around 140 employees. Our data loggers are manufactured on site. We're located in Bourne, Massachusetts, so in Cape Cod. We have a global network of distributors, so if it's easier for you to reach out to one of your distributors, we do have a list of them on our website, and we have them everywhere. We have several distributors ready to sell our product, and we are a ISO 9001 2015 compliant company. I want to thank all of you for attending today. I really hope this is useful and answered some of your questions. Hopefully we'll have more of these types of webinars to give you the information you need to be prepared for the COVID-19 response. Again, we're always looking at the reports and looking at the news and looking at what's happening in the world currently so that we can give you up-to-date information. If you are interested in the solutions we have now, so the CX600s, the 700s, the gateway, and all that, you can contact our sales and customer service. You can also go online to purchase our loggers or reach out to us with any inquiries you might have. So with that, I'm actually going to have my colleague unmute herself, and my lovely colleague Jessica is going to read out any other questions we might have that she believes would be useful for the entire audience to hear.
Hi, Colin.
Hello.
We do have a couple questions here. The first one, can the CX gateways be used to tell what receiving location a shipment has been received? These would be helpful if there's a shipment that goes to the wrong location.
So with the app, we do have location monitoring. So using the app itself, we'll be able to tell you the location. You can assign a location to the gateway as well. It's not GPS though, so you have to physically assign an address to the gateway, but that will tell you which gateway downloaded and where that gateway was located. And we also have something called trip information, which is essentially it's data tags. So you can program the logger with additional information, such as where it's going, what courier is shipping the product, what the product is. Literally anything you can think of can be made into a data tag and put on that logger so that you're able to collect a lot more information about what the logger is for, and then cross-referencing it with the gateway locations or the applications to figure out where it went and where it's supposed to be.
Great, thank you. We do have another question here. Is just the data logger probe inserted into the dry ice space or the whole logger?
Just the probe. So the logger is not capable of going down to those temperatures, only the probe is. So the logger would remain on the outside of the package for both the 600 and for the 405 that we're developing.
Okay, great. Let me just check. Any other questions? Are the loggers certified for onboard aircraft use?
The 500 loggers and the 600 loggers, I believe, are certified for airline. The 405 that we're developing, that's not going to be an issue because you put in AAA batteries, so you don't have to use lithium batteries with those loggers. You can use alkaline, which are obviously permitted on planes and not an issue, so they technically wouldn't really need to have that certification. But the 500s and 600s do have several airline certifications with all of the major airlines plus several more.
Okay, great. We're getting a lot of questions coming in right now.
Wonderful.
Okay, let me see here. Yes, we do have another one. Okay. Currently, our clinic data loggers only read low temperatures up to -40°C or -50°C. Can you clarify that monitoring ultra low temperatures is only for transport purposes? Because once received in our clinic, our current data loggers, will they be sufficient?
Sure. So it is not just for transport conditions, it is also for storage conditions until you are ready to use the vaccine. So up until the time you're ready to use that vaccine, you still have to keep it between -65 or -90, depending on what the specific vaccine you're storing. When you're ready to use it, that is when you would have to bring it out of those temperatures, and then you only have a few days to use it. So that's part of the reason why we went through all of our loggers to give you a sense of what does what. We have loggers with probes and glycols if a specific vaccine does need to go to refrigerated before use. We have loggers for freezer conditions and everything up into ambient conditions and as low as -200. So we have a wide range of loggers that will meet all your needs. But to specifically answer your question again, it will need to stay at -60 or -65 or -90 while in storage until it is ready to be used.
That's great. Thank you, Colin. Many people have obviously found this information very helpful, and we have a lot of questions of people asking whether this webinar will be available later for viewing. And yes, I can take that one and say that in a couple days' time, all attendees will receive the recording.
Wonderful. Any other questions?
I think that we're getting a lot of questions, and I know we've been answering them individually, Colin, but if anyone asked any others, we will follow up with them individually after
Yeah,
this webinar.
absolutely. So you do have our sales and customer service contact information here. We have a wonderful team that is available to answer all of your questions. Keep in mind, the COVID-19 response is ongoing. The government is still trying to figure out, the world is still trying to figure out, and we will do our best to keep up to date and answer any logistical questions like that. But if you do have questions about our solutions, our loggers, or anything you might need, please do feel free to reach out. Logistical question for the webinar, Jessica, is there going to be a survey?
Yes, at the end of this webinar, you will receive a survey, and if you could kindly answer that, we'd appreciate your feedback on this survey, any ideas for future surveys, and if you had any questions that didn't get answered, please tick that you would like to be contacted by one of our application specialists so we can get back to you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Jessica. And thank you all for attending today. We really appreciate it. Again, I'm glad to see that there's so many questions and that people are very engaged. And it seems like it was very helpful. So feel free to reach out to us anytime. And thank you again for attending today. Goodbye.